Um, yeah. So they don't the cinematic world we live in. Everything comes from we're projecting it ourselves. And even if you want to say that's outlandish, that's completely crazy. Like people have, I'm not the first person that's ever said this. There are loads of people that say this in many, many different ways. Right? It's all coming from you, right? You're projecting onto the screen in your bubble and you're experiencing it. So let me give you an example. So we go and watch a movie, right? Star Wars. Like all of us, yeah, big bus, we all go on a bus. We're going to go watch, I don't know, Star Wars. So yeah, we go there. And we get in there, buy tickets, whatever, popcorn, whatever, nachos, whatever you like. We're in there, watch a movie. Before the movie starts, we have to switch off part of our awareness. So if we, the humans in the cinema, we're going to use ourselves to represent consciousness, yeah? As in the oneness of everything, infinite intelligence. I'll just use the humans to represent that. Okay, so we're going to the cinema, and before we went into the cinema, we saw the pictures of Luke Skywalker and all these characters and stuff on the wall and the fancy ships and all that kind of shit. We saw all of that. And when we saw down the posters and shit like that, we know that it's fake. We know it's fake. Nobody can convince us otherwise. It's fake. We know that it's fake. Okay. Then we go in there, but we switch off a part of our own minds, which allow us to kind of go like, okay, we know it's fake, but we're going to pretend it's real for a little bit and experience it. Okay? Cool. Now, as we're experiencing this movie, it's really, really cool and all these things are happening and it evokes all these different emotions within us, which is just, we're getting new experiences of what certain things are, because whilst we're watching the movie, we are essentially on a consciousness level. We are trying to embody those characters. That's why if that character gets slighted or offended, you feel it and you feel like, man, or something happens to the guy the good guy that you're rooting for. You're not rooting for him. Even it's in the keyword, like you're rooting the roots. So i.e. the source of power that's going to make that thing, yeah, the thing that's anchoring it, the anchor is you. In order for that thing to, so it's almost like you take on, you get behind them and it's like the win is your win because now you're sharing a consciousness with a fictional character. Yeah. Because that's why you be happy for them to win. Yeah. It feels like your win. Yeah. You just answered your own question. You're sharing a consciousness with a fictional character. Right. Okay. So let's just recap. So we're in a cinema. We're representing infinite intelligence. We've thrown away part of our minds or part of our awareness that makes us know that we are in a fake simulation. We're experiencing the fake simulation. We are identifying with fictional characters on the screen. Yeah. We're energizing them with our consciousness. Yeah. That's why we can share feelings and feel for them and all the rest of it. We also might hate a specific character because that character may have something within us that we also need to address or get rid of or heal past or whatever it is. Yeah. Because we all go through it. So it stands to reason that that's probably the reason why consciousness is doing this, because it's everything. So the positive and negative coexist in it. Right. Cool. So we're watching now, we don't like that guy. Okay, now the movie ends and we're leaving. Yeah, we talk about it. Yeah, cool. But now we're back in the real world, right? But some of us within the group are like, that was the best movie I've ever seen. Like, it was the best experience I've ever had. Then they go and set up fan clubs and groups and Reddit groups and chat groups and Discord groups and groups and YouTube groups, and you're talking about it and you're talking about it and you're doing fan theories and and what if this was that, and then they build a whole universe. They create an alternative universe, right? Because the cinematic screen production has ended. Yeah. It's finished. It doesn't exist anymore. That bubble is popped. So now they create another bubble because they are God, they are consciousness in flesh. They can create wherever they want. So they create another bubble, right? And in that bubble, they dress up like the characters. They go to conventions. There are people that share it. So in the 3D, it looks like, it would look to us like these Comic-Con and all these sorts of events and stuff. But on a consciousness level, it's like an aspect of us, which includes myself, because we all have done it. And I think that's part of the reason why we're in this place we are right now. So we set up these clubs and we're going there. We develop the language that we saw in the movie. We now talk within the language. So what's now happened is that false reality has now been made real. Yeah. In our current reality. And remember, if we were representing infinite consciousness, that means that within infinite consciousness, an aspect of consciousness has become too attached to the story that they themselves created to experience. Yeah? Because even on a 3D level, people wrote that movie, produced it, so people created for people, and if people are one, it's consciousness just made it for itself. Yeah, the cinematic experience. So, i.e., you created it. So, if I say you're projecting into your own bubble, it is true. Whether you want to split us into multiple, quote unquote, people and say that, yeah, he filmed it, he recorded it, as if any of those things matter. Because if you collapse the wave, all that's happening is it's just consciousness projecting onto a screen and experiencing it. So anyway, they become so attached and they form the Comic-Con groups and they're doing all this other shit, right? They attach to that story. So within infinite consciousness, what keeps happening is that infinite consciousness, you remember, because we were representing infinite consciousness in the cinema, they keep replaying the story, reliving the story. So one of us in the bus, let's say it's me, I remodel my whole house to make it look like one of the spaceships in Star Wars. I buy the suits, I buy the I develop a whole language. I'm the chairman of the fan club. I organize our get-togethers. We meet 4 or 5 times a year. So that's my, so now as infinite consciousness, I am stuck. Yeah? Playing the limited consciousness game. Because I am too attached to the story. Yeah? Do you follow? Cool. So what's essentially happening is an aspect of infinite consciousness has become a serial reincarnator. Forgetting that there is a whole reality, another realm, a real world outside of Star Wars movie that we went to see. Do you see? I know people might say, oh, but what if it's something they enjoy, they're so passionate about? Yes, of course. You can create a movie and, or write a piece of music and you might like it so much. But do you have to experience it all the time? Like you live in a actual reality. Connect with that reality. There's things that you're supposed to be doing there because you as consciousness spawned somewhere. We are somewhere, yeah, in the infiniteness of whatever, yeah, on the infiniteness of a pinhead. Like we don't know the whole script, bro. What we know is there is something called consciousness, right? Which we all are, but somehow part of us, a few of us, are now were too attached to the story that we were in. So when we start to search for these answers and we're searching for these talks and searching for these masters and searching for these videos and searching for this specific content and stuff like that, for the most part, we don't really search that hard really, because it's kind of like the algorithm, because the technology is super, super advanced, and don't ever think that the algorithm is like, a video just appeared on your shit. Like no video just appeared on your shit, bro. The thing is connected to you very intimately. But I've got a video on technology. We'll talk about that another day. I don't want to go off track. Essentially what it is, it's like it's a frequency thing, when certain things are vibrate, they resonate, and then they just have to attract each other because we are electromagnetic beings. We just literally attract each other. And that's why it's like, if you shift your vibration, right? And the only way you can shift your vibration, you have to go inside to shift your vibration. So if you do that, you will realize that different people on that vibration start being drawn to you. You also attract the negative polarity of it as well. Yeah, the shadows. We get that. But essentially, that's what we are. And if you descend into hell, you also attract hellish people, and it's the same. But at the same time, you also attract the opposite, because you find people that will want to pick you up out of hell, because that's how it works. The polarity works in both directions. Negative, minus, negative, positive, positive, negative. So anyway, back to the thing. So an aspect of consciousness, when I say an aspect, it's not really an aspect, it's just consciousness itself has become too attached to the story. So human consciousness, if we can call it that, it's all one thing. But the aspect that's playing humans got too attached to the story, because there isn't, like we've established, there's no they, okay? Although there is you, there is me, because we're all these separate bubbles, there's only one thing. We recognize that. We recognize that we're what's inside the bubble and what's outside the bubble. We've established that, and we know that. So essentially there's only one thing, but then I got too attached to my story in my bubble. So did you, but then I've come to the realization that, oh yeah, I did that. So have you, so has he, and we just know that. So instead of now playing Comic-Con and then wearing the suits and, putting all the stickers on our cars and trying to, like wearing the story as a label. Dude, we literally wear the stories because, people go out and buy clothes to reflect the stories they believe about themselves. Like literally. It's no different than being attached to the story of the Star Wars thing and then going to buy the uniform and then wearing it because you're Luke. You're not Luke Skywalker, bro. You're not. You created Luke. I get it. Yeah. Then you put him on the screen. Yeah, I get it. It was limited consciousness. Yes, I get it. You experienced it. Yes, I get it. But Luke is just a bubble. It's the ring of the bubble. You can't even call it a ring. The sphere of the bubble within which you live. Yeah. Owning or trying to wear Luke doesn't make sense, because Luke doesn't actually exist. Luke is a hologram. Just like your body is a hologram. You don't need to be attached to it. You have to be aware of what's inside you and what's outside of here. Those are the key points. Anything else is attachment. We just went to see the movie and you got too attached to the thing. Too attached to the movie. And now you're spending your time doing that. Your relationships are suffering. Your real life superhero tasks are suffering. Suffering. And I know that people say, oh, but what if, people might be depressed or unhappy, and maybe this is their only way to feel happy, to, get lost in another universe, another reality. And that's all good. You can get lost in this reality though, the same way. But this time you'd be doing it from a different consciousness. You would be doing it from unlimited consciousness, which is far better than limited consciousness anyway. I know you can go to your convention and wear your suit, and that's great. Yeah, and that's great. You can get a lot of pictures and, post something and people might love it, whatever. But you can't wear it every day. You see, because at some point, the story starts to crumble, because there's a mismatch between the two realities of limited consciousness and unlimited consciousness. That's why when we latch into the story so much and something just throws us off the line and we look at the reality, you realize how Mickey Mouse the whole thing actually was. Like, oh my God, I can't believe, I used to actually fear that guy, or I used to think that I was supposed to accept that, or because you were believing a story. The key takeaway from this whole conversation, use examples I've said with the bubble, with us in the cinema, and unlimited consciousness. You have been you just become a serial reincarnator, just respawning, all different ways, all different people, because the story of the bubble was just too fantastic for you, too amazing for you. We just couldn't drop it. We just couldn't drop it. We created all these concepts that would trick us in creating a reality, i.e. belief in something, because belief is creation. So we would start to believe these concepts, which would trick us into reincarnating straight away back into here. Oh, concepts like karma, concepts like heaven and hell, concepts of, I didn't, perfection. I wasn't quite perfect. I didn't quite do that. So I need to come back and these are stories. These are stories. God made you perfect, bro. Even if you don't have legs, I'm telling you. If you are a true conscious being, I'm telling you, like there is no, there's nothing that doesn't fit in place in the whole picture. Do you understand? But the mistake we've made is, so it's like we've gone to the cinema, it's a fun day. We are in a state of actual equilibrium. Yeah. As a group, as one thing. Yeah. We went to watch a movie, everything. We all decided to believe in it. Yeah. And then somehow we got too lost in the story. And we've taken it far too seriously. Way too seriously. Like way too seriously. Like people will literally go out of their way to go and kill somebody because they believe in a story called religion. It's like you go and watch this convention show, right? Or we go and watch the Star Wars thing, and then so there are the Siths and the Jedis, right? And then we decide to form. So we go to Comic-Con and or these conventions, right? And then we actually have a problem with each other, like this actual beef, and then we get to a point where somebody actually kills somebody. And then now we're like, bro, like if I see him, I'm gonna kill him. Guys, we just went to watch a fucking film. How the fuck you killing, you guys are killing each other now? I'm telling you, when you wake up, man, it's crazy. When you wake up, it's crazy. You literally, it's like, what the fuck are we doing, man? What the fuck are we doing? We're trying to cheat each other, trying to all because of the belief in the story. Because once you drop the belief in the story we just saw, the movie, and again, I'm not saying we're going to leave the cinema before the movie ends. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying let's leave right now. Let's forget about the movie. Of course, we can even have a film club, and every so often we can watch this film again. Yeah. Cool. We can talk about it. That's fine. It's a fucking amazing experience. Look, it literally feels real. It literally feels real. Imagine going to watch a movie that literally feels real. Like, imagine we went to see a movie like Star Wars or Avatar, right? But we were actually in haptic suits in the motherfucking movie. That real. Like mosquitoes and stuff biting you, and you got like everything. Everything. Right? And now we've forgotten that we are in Pandora. But then somehow we actually think that we are Pandorans. Like we're really like Pandorans. And when I see someone, I'm like, hey, we live, like just for like to make this point, I come across one of the Pandora blue people, and I'm like, hey, the Navi. I'm like, hey, how you doing, man? And the guy speaks back to me in his, yeah, how you doing? And he's like, oh, I'm in a rush. I gotta get to work. I've got to go and milk these cows and And I'm like, oh, okay. I just wanted to tell you that, like, we're in a film. Yeah, like this is all a film. It's just a film stage. It's not really real. And he's like, what the fuck? You're so stupid, you fucking idiot. Like, it's not film stage. Like, it's real. Look at the ground. Look around you. Can't you see what's around you? Can't you understand how your senses work? And even the God of this place said it's real because he said he created it in 5 days. Like, so, yeah. And you're just a motherfucker. Okay. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. I hear I hear what you're saying, bruh. But I'm just telling you that we have worn these suits and we've come into this movie to experience this movie as Navi. Yeah, that's what we're doing out here. You don't have to believe me, but that's what's going on. He's like, no. Explain what you mean. That's so crazy. What the fuck, bro? Blah, blah, blah. Okay. And I say, do you dream sometimes? He's like, yeah, I dream. And I'm like, okay, but when you dream, do you dream in blue skin? No. I dream and sometimes I'm in, like a place and it comes in my head, maybe Ireland or something like that. Okay. Bingo. That's where we actually live. Because when you go to sleep, like, the thing that's animating your whole body, like the electricity in it, goes back to the outside place. Yeah. It goes outside your suit. It leaves because your suit gets put on charge and it leaves. And then when that thing leaves, it reconnects with your real self. And then, because your real self can do anything. Yeah. It can go to the cinema. It can go to the shop. It can fly. It can all these things. And sometimes you get flashbacks. And then when you come back to pick up your suit to play the movie again, sometimes you remember things. When, the interface is connected. Really? Yeah. And also sometimes, like, when you die here, like, you remember the last time that Jimbo got shot with a fucking arrow in his heart. You remember, like, he died for like 5 minutes, right? Yeah. And then Jimbo came back. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, that was so strange, man. But you remember when Jimbo came back, he said that we are not these bodies. And Jimbo was like, yeah, I went outside of the place and I saw the whole thing. This is a movie. Yeah, I remember Jimbo saying that, but yeah, I think Jimbo was just crazy. Okay. All right. And remember that time when, Lewis took a LSD tab, right? Or he smoked that plant and Lewis was spaced out. And then when he came back, he said like, oh man, we're not our bodies, man. I kid you not. Like, we actually live outside of here. Do you remember that too? Yeah, but we all know Lewis. He's always fucking, yeah, he's a druggie anyway. He's not right. He's not a good person, cause good people don't do those sorts of things. And good people, we're the good, loving, honest, hardworking people of Pandora. Bro, do you see? That's what people are literally doing. And then they're going to church, going to the mosque, going to their temples, believing in the government, believing in a story, believing that, and I was the same, right? And I'm telling you that that's what we have been doing this whole time. Literally, we just got too stuck to the story, bro. We just started to believe it and think it was real. And then we added even more layers of complexity to it. Because it feels real. It literally feels real. But the crazy thing is when you come to the realization that, oh, actually, then you start to actually experience that this place actually is not real. It's fake. And then once you start to see and feel the fakeness of this place, you will start to get that warm feeling of the real world where we are actually from and the real world that we're actually supposed to live in, which is pure consciousness in human bodies, experiencing life as it's supposed to without no illusions. So it's like we've gone and seen the movie, we've experienced it, and whilst we experienced it, we were completely involved in it. It was absolutely fine, but we still recognize that we were John, Peter, Michael, Sean in the cinema. We still knew that, right? And it was a nice feeling. It was a nice feeling. And when we recognize, we separate, we detach from the story, and we can see that, okay, it's just an experience that we're having and stuff like that. You start to now regain your powers because now you're not connected to the story. You're connected to your true essence. Anyway, I think my kids have had enough video game time, so I need to go and entertain them. Right. So that's one for today. Peace. And, yeah, man, stay conscious, stay bright. It's surreal, but it's true. Guys, you live in a world where the moon and the sun are the same size and they cover each other every so often, and then day becomes night. It's a trippy world you live in, bro. So what I'm telling you shouldn't even come as a surprise. Like, you're in a movie. Yeah? You're in a movie. And you just ended up believing everything within the movie as real. And I'm telling you that we're just in a very advanced cinema, a very advanced cinematic experience where everything, you literally get immersed. Think of the screen, you literally they throw you into the movies. You literally enter the film. But once you start to detach from the stories of the film, you actually start to see and feel your actual essence back. you're not playing a character anymore. You're actually you now. You're unlimited consciousness. And that's a good place to be.